Assalamu alaikum. In this lecture, we will discuss about thesis statement. We have already talked about thesis statement when learning about essays. For your revision, I would briefly talk about what a thesis statement is. Then we would talk about the qualities of an effective thesis statement. Then we would move forward to differentiate between good and a bad thesis statement. Thesis statement is an essential part of a good essay. It summarizes the whole main idea of the essay. Let's see. A thesis statement is a one sentence that expresses the main idea of an essay. So every good essay technically has a thesis statement. And thesis statement is just one sentence that tells us the whole idea about the essay. We know that an essay talks about one topic. There is one given topic, and an essay is written or is a compilation of different ideas or themes about that one topic. So thesis statement basically summarizes the stance of the writer or what is the point of view of the writer in just one sentence. And it gives a whole map and general idea to the reader that what the essay would be about. A good thesis statement usually appears at the conclusion of the introductory paragraph of a paper or an essay. It is not a strict rule that you have to stick to, but usually good writers or most of the writers put their thesis statement usually at the end of the introductory paragraph. We have talked about an introductory paragraph in an essay and its importance. We know that the readers stick to the introductory paragraph to gain the overall idea of the essay, and then they decide whether they want to stick to the essay or not. So thesis statement helps them decide that because it gives them an idea that what the following paragraphs would be about. So by the end of the conclusion, there is a thesis statement which gives the roadmap of the remaining essay to the reader. It offers a concise summary of the main point or the claim of the essay. So it is a very small summary, like the whole essay put in one sentence only by the end of introductory paragraph. Why should your essay contain a thesis statement? This is a very important question. Many writers, they do not put a thesis statement. But in that case, the essay does not sound as organized as within thesis statement. Because a thesis statement gives a clear idea to the reader that what it is going to be about. Not only readers, but it is also helpful for the writer himself or herself that because it gives them a clear idea or they stick to the point that what is their stance and what are they going to write about, and they don't go here and there in other directions. So thesis statement sticks the writer to the point and gives it a framework and a roadmap to follow, as well as it helps the reader to stick or to understand what is the point of the essay. All right, here it says to test your ideas by distilling them into one sentence. So the main advantage of a thesis statement in your essay is that before developing a whole essay, you need to consider whether you are as strong in your point as you think. So it kind of distills your thoughts and it tests that whether you can put them in one sentence or not, whether you yourself are clear about your stance or not. Next point is to better organize and develop your argument. All right, so in a thesis statement, we talk about a glimpse of the following paragraphs. So it gives us a better idea to organize or give a proper sequence and order to the remaining paragraphs. In one sentence, we can develop a coherent thought. Then only then we can follow up in remaining body paragraphs. To provide your reader with a guide to your argument. So this is a very main it is an important and main function of thesis statement that it provides a guide, a guideline, a roadmap to your reader to see that what is the remaining essay going to be about. Okay, so how can we write a thesis statement? What are the parts of thesis statement? So two things we need to remember about thesis statement. A strong or a general good thesis statement should have a topic and an argument which is justifiable. By topic, we mean that it should stick to what the topic we are given. Okay, for example, if my topic is climate change and I'm writing in my thesis statement, I'm talking about world crisis, so it's not technically a good idea. I should have stick to climate change. Similarly, if my topic is importance of reading, okay, so in my thesis statement, I should stick to the importance of reading. So in the thesis statement, the first chunk of a thesis statement should give us a glimpse of the main topic, okay? So it can put the similar words, same keywords from the main topic, or it can use the synonyms from the main topic, or somehow connect to the main topic that the writer or the reader can know that you know what is the meaning of the topic and you understand it, and then you develop an argument accordingly. The second chunk of the thesis statement gives us an argument which is justifiable. By justifiable, we means that you have sufficient arguments through which sufficient claims, sufficient proofs to make through which you can prove your topic or your argument. Okay, and an argument should not be an observation or a fact or an elaboration or a statement, because all these things are very obvious and everyone would agree on. Okay, when we would talk about the good qualities of an effective thesis statement, then we would see a good thesis statement is the one which other same people might disagree upon. All right, so you should have a argument in your thesis statement which could be acceptable for certain people and which could be unacceptable for certain people. So it is kind of an argument. Like if you put a fact in a thesis statement, everyone would agree upon that, okay, because a fact means that no one can claim that it's not true, so it's not your personal opinion. A thesis statement should strongly be your own opinion on which you have an argument which you can justify later on. Okay, a good thesis statement would usually include the following attributes. Takes on a subject upon which reasonable people could disagree. Okay, we already talked about this point, that a good thesis statement should be an opinion which may vary subject to subject. Some people might agree with your opinion, some people might also disagree with your opinion. So you should not put anything that everyone would agree upon. That would not be a good thesis statement. Next point is it deals with a subject that can be adequately treated given the nature of the topic. So your thesis statement should not be so much specific and not so broad that you cannot justify it in your essay. In a thesis statement, it's an ideal way to write a thesis statement which you can justify adequately, so it's not too narrow. Okay, so it should be a more enough of a moderate nature that you can treat it with your arguments and then justify it. It should be specific. Again, it is the same point that you should not make it so broad that in a length of a small essay or maybe an essay of 1,000 to 2,000 words, you cannot justify it. So it should be so specific and it should coherently develop upon your arguments. So your thesis statement needs to be specific as well as adequately treated with a certain number of arguments. So not too broad, not too narrow. It asserts your conclusions about a subject. This means that it should clarify what your stance is about the topic. If you agree with the topic, your thesis statement should tell the reader that this is your stance. But if you disagree with the topic, your thesis statement should assert that this is your conclusion and you do not agree with the topic. Okay, next is a strong thesis statement makes some sort of stand. So this is similar to the last point, that it should take one side. Okay, it should not be haphazard that some points from this, some points from the other side, so you're taking the middle path. It should be assertive. It should take one stand that yes, this is my point of view, and it should be strongly opinionated. A strong thesis statement justifies discussion. So a strong thesis statement should be arguable and it should justify what are your following discussion paragraphs gonna be about. So a good thesis statement should give us the hints about what would be your discussion in the following essay. It expresses one main idea. So it is not too broad and it's not talking about lots of ideas. It is talking about the given topic, and then other ideas or the smaller ideas would emerge from that idea later on in your essay. Okay, so now we have discussed few qualities of an essay. Now I want you to see these statements, and you have to tell me whether they are good thesis statements or not, or whether they are thesis statements or not. They fulfill the criteria to be a thesis statement in an essay, or we cannot, we can rule them out. So you can pause this video now and read this line, sentences, and decide whether you think these statements can be thesis statements or they cannot. All right, now let's check your answers. First statement was there are many species in the ecosystem. It's not a good thesis statement. Why? Because it is a general statement. It is a general statement which everyone would agree upon. This is not just opinion that there are many species in this ecosystem. We all know that there are many species in the ecosystem. And most of the people, I mean, if they are sane, they would agree that there are many species in the ecosystem because we all know that it is a fact. So it's not a good thesis statement because it is not arguable and it is a fact. All right. Next is COVID-19 is the result of human action. Though it is a very small and to the point statement, so it's not as complicated thesis statement, but yes, it is arguable because some people might disagree with that because they might think that it is natural. They might think that there are other causes behind COVID-19. But some people are like you, they can agree on this statement and then they can move on justifying this statement. So it can be a good thesis statement if you justify it properly later on. Otherwise, it's simpler but a good thesis statement. All right, next is I will discuss the causes of the pandemic. Okay, so this is the point that need to highlight that in thesis statement, you do not tell like say words like I will discuss, we will talk about, or certain words like that. You usually avoid subjective pronouns, okay, and then you do not tell what you are going to do. You have to show it with your words, okay. So there should be a statement, not like this one that I will discuss or should not highlight the point. Okay, so it is not a good thesis statement. Let's see the next one. COVID-19 has overtaken the world. We should take rigid measures to avoid its further spread. Okay, this is a good thesis statement and it is complex enough to be justified. Okay, some people might disagree to your opinion because they might think that world population need to decrease. Some people might favor in climate change and they would see it is in the benefit of the world, or there could be lots of other arguments towards it, or they would say that it is yet not overtaken the world like many other pandemics in the past. So there could be varying opinions upon this opinion. So this is a good thesis statement on which you can give an opinion, okay, and this is your opinion that it has overtaken the world and now is the time we should take rigid measures. Some people might disagree over this statement as well. They would see that we should loosen up and we should loosen up the lockdown. There are economic crisis and lots of other things. So it is a sufficiently good thesis statement because it is justifiable, it is arguable, it is specific to one point, not too broad, not too narrow. Let's see the next one. COVID-19 has affected millions of people worldwide. This is a fact, okay, and this is an observation that if some people are directly affected by the virus, some people are indirectly affected by the virus, like they have lost their jobs and they're suffering from hunger and lots of other things. So again, this is an observation and a fact, so it is not arguable. So it is not a thesis statement. Okay, here are some more examples for you. You can read down these why these are bad thesis statement and why these are good thesis statement. You can pause the video and then you can read these statements. Okay, here's another example. Reading can develop a child's analytical mind. It's a bad thesis statement, and here is a complex enough good thesis statement. Now, here are the reasons given as well that why this is a good bad thesis statement and why this is a good thesis statement. You can also decide on your own. What do you think about these thesis statements, and whether you think these are good or bad? If you have any queries, you can put them in comment section so I can address them, or we can discuss them in the live section. Till then, I want you to develop a thesis statement of your own on any topic of your interest that you might be interested in, so that you feel comfortable developing a complex enough thesis statement. Maybe you can write something related to COVID-19, so it is very much contextual about, for example, the general scenario these days of COVID-19. So maybe you can do that. You can develop one thesis statement, then we would be discussing whether your thesis statements are good or bad. Please try to remember the qualities of a good thesis statement here we discussed. Okay, so your thesis statement should at least follow these criteria, and only then we can discuss whether they are good or bad. Thank you.